Captain's log, stardate 57931.4. Starfleet has tasked us with a mission of the highest priority. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war. While protocol might suggest we alert Starfleet about our situation, I think we're better off keeping this to ourselves.
You go first. No time to fight me on this.
If we can't go to warp, we're sitting ducks here. It puts the mission and everyone on the ship at risk.
They respect one thing, and that is force.
Our losses are mounting. Yours are just beginning.
Look out! We're being hailed by the USS Titan.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Resolut.
We're up against something greater than we can imagine.
The Takan were once the most advanced, most powerful civilization in the galaxy.
How dare you disturb me?
Portal 6-3. We need your help.
Et bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour à tous. Bienvenue en ce mercredi. Mercredi 31 mai. J'espère que vous allez bien. En tout cas, bonjour à tous. En ce si beau soleil, vive les températures. Très contente que du coup, on puisse profiter presque déjà d'un bel été. En tout cas, j'espère que vous aussi. Bonjour tout le monde, nouvelle découverte cette semaine, enfin cette semaine sera plutôt courte les amis, puisqu'il n'y aura que 2 lives aujourd'hui et demain, puisque vendredi je serai en off toute la journée. Voilà, donc nouvelle découverte, on reste dans les étoiles après la saga des Mass Effect trilogie ainsi que Mass Effect Andromeda qu'on avait fini la semaine dernière. On continue avec Star Trek Resurgence qui est sorti le 23 mai sur toutes les plateformes. N'hésitez pas à checker sur Epic Games. Il est au prix de 35,99 €. Et n'oubliez surtout pas qu'à l'heure actuelle, vous avez des coupons aussi avec 25% de réduction sur Epic. Voilà, donc autant en profiter. En général, quand on met de côté un jeu, on peut profiter un peu des promos. Donc autant en profiter sur Epic Games. Et bonjour Kalan. Bonjour, comment est-ce que tu vas ? Je suis contente de faire une nouvelle découverte cette semaine, mais on reste, comme je viens de le dire, on reste dans les étoiles, avec notamment donc Star Trek Resurgence qui est sorti le 23 mai, donc il n'y a pas si longtemps, il y a à peu près une semaine. On reste bien évidemment sur une aventure narrative développée par le studio Dramatic Labs, le nouveau studio de l'ancien président de Telltale. Souvenez-vous des nombreux jeux Telltale qu'on avait notamment fait sur la chaîne. On avait The Wolf Among Us, le 1. D'ailleurs, il travaille sur un 2. On avait déjà vu plusieurs trailers à ce sujet. On avait la fameuse saga intemporelle des The Walking Dead, qui est juste une petite pépite. Voilà, donc ce sont eux qui ont ouvert du coup un nouveau petit studio qui est du coup un studio indépendant. Ils le disent eux-mêmes, ils ne sont pas nombreux, mais comme dit, ils sont quand même expérimentés et motivés pour une nouvelle aventure, donc c'est super plaisant. Les choix de ce jeu auront des conséquences avec de multiples embranchements possibles. Et concernant l'aventure, l'aventure suit le récit de l'officier Jara Rydek et de l'ingénieur Carter Diaz au sein de l'USS Resolut, qui se sont embarqués dans un conflit entre des races aliens. Donc va-t-on faire en sorte d'avoir une méga guerre ou allons-nous calmer le jeu ? Va savoir. Il se déroule en 2380 après les événements de Star Trek The Next Generation. Pour ceux qui ont suivi les films et surtout les séries Star Trek qui datent. Hein. Oh pétard, mais qu'est-ce que ça date quoi. Donc voilà, merci à eux. Donc développé et édité par Dramatic Labs, Brunner House LLC. Et Epic Games, merci à eux pour le partenariat. Du coup, voilà, nouveau partenariat de la semaine. C'est le 20e, pétard, en moins de 2 ans. C'est le 20e partenariat qu'on fait avec des studios et des développeurs, donc ça fait super plaisir. Et en tout cas, voilà, je suis très très contente encore de découvrir avec vous un nouveau jeu cette semaine. Et qui du surcroît, des anciens de Telltale. Et je vais très bien, je vais très bien. J'ai passé un an de plus hier, ça s'est bien passé, voilà. J'ai passé un cap. J'ai passé un cap de un an de plus hier, donc j'étais en off. Tranquillement, j'en ai profité pour faire plein de trucs. Aujourd'hui, donc cet après-midi, on est sur Star Trek Resurgence. Demain, on le sera aussi toute la journée. Et comme je disais, par contre, vendredi, on sera en off. Merci beaucoup, Kalan, et bonjour à Pretori. Bienvenue à toi, et merci aussi. Merci beaucoup, en tout cas. Donc voilà, donc petite semaine de stream, cette semaine avec uniquement 2 jours. Comme dit vendredi, je ne serai pas là. Mais en tout cas, on aura déjà 2 journées, enfin 2 bons jours, on va dire, à découvrir sur Star Trek Resurgence. Et on continuera tranquillement la semaine prochaine, pardon. Alors... Que dire au niveau du jeu aussi pour les gens qui sont intéressés. Donc n'hésitez pas à faire point d'exclamation Star Trek dans le chat. Vous aurez du coup le lien vers la page d'Epic Games. Le jeu est au prix de 35,99 €. N'oubliez pas que c'est un Telltale. Pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas ce studio, les Telltale en général ne font pas des jeux en version française. Ils les mettent en sous-titré français, mais les jeux sont en version originale. Ce jeu-là, notamment, ne sera pas en VF, mais en VO sous-titré en français. Donc ça, c'est déjà la première chose à savoir. On est sur un jeu narratif à choix avec des conséquences. Ça, c'est un peu l'habitude des Telltale. Voilà, tous les choix dans ces jeux-là ont des conséquences. Le jeu se joue au clavier ou à la manette. Par contre, attention, on ne sera pas sur un clavier AZERTY. On est sur un QWERTY. Donc soit c'est QWERTY, soit c'est manette. Voilà, donc moi en l'occurrence, j'ai mis mon clavier en QWERTY pour être tranquille. Mais sachez que voilà, c'est QWERTY ou c'est manette pour ce jeu-là. La durée du jeu, je ne sais pas, en ayant checké un peu de stream dessus en termes de longévité, je pense on est quand même sur une bonne quinzaine d'heures. Je pense, à moins que les streamers aient juste fait 2 heures de jeu et que j'ai vu 6 heures de live et que je me suis dit, ok, ils ont fait 6 heures sur celui-ci. Donc pour l'instant, voilà, je ne suis pas trop sûre de la durée du jeu. De toute façon, on s'en fiche, on verra bien. Voilà, donc voilà ce qui est en gros Star Trek Resurgence. Je rappelle que c'est un partenariat, voilà, donc le stream est sponsorisé par Dramatic Labs, Brunner House et Epic Games. Donc encore une fois, merci beaucoup à eux. J'attendais depuis un petit moment ce jeu-là. On avait vu un trailer l'année dernière et je m'étais noté la petite date de sortie du 23 mai, histoire de voir si je pouvais travailler avec eux. Donc je suis doublement très contente. Voilà, je vais lancer tranquillement le jeu. Vous me direz évidemment comme d'habitude si tout va bien. J'ai augmenté un peu le son du stream aussi, donc vous me direz si c'est... Bon, de toute façon, je checkerai la rediffusion. Mais j'ai essayé d'augmenter un peu quand même le niveau du stream en termes général. Et on verra si tout est OK à ce niveau-là. Voilà, je ferme les pages qui ne sont pas nécessaires. On se lance tranquillement le jeu. Et puis, on va découvrir ça ensemble. Et puis je pense qu'on va découvrir une belle aventure. C'est parfait pour le moment. Merci beaucoup. Parce qu'en général, le stream est assez équilibré en termes d'audio, voix et surtout jeu. Mais on m'avait souvent dit que c'était un peu trop bas. Donc du coup, j'ai augmenté. Donc pour l'instant, on verra. J'ai rapproché aussi un peu le micro parce que j'ai tendance à mettre le micro très loin. Donc voilà. Allez hop, on lance le jeu. Je vous mets l'image dans un instant. Ok, on est bon. Tac, 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 tac. Les paramètres, je les ai déjà fait hier. Les choix, c'est ce qu'on verra au fur et à mesure. En termes de paramètres, voilà, on a le minimum syndical. Hein. Rien d'exceptionnel. Hein. Voilà, les choix. Alors, plongez au cœur de vos choix. Visitez le site. Scannez le QR code. Utilisez un appareil mobile pour scanner un QR code. Ok. pense que c'est pour comparer un peu les choix que les différents joueurs peuvent faire dans le jeu au fur et à mesure des questionnements. On va changer par contre d'emplacement. Et c'est parti.
Captain's log, stardate 57931.4. The crew is restless. After spending too many months piecing our ship back together, we're finally about to venture out on a new mission. And the crew isn't letting this unprecedented ion storm slow them down. They're ready for something different. I know I am. Perhaps more than any of them. Fortunately, nothing ever stays the same. It's entropy, the nature of the universe. Change is inevitable. And while entropy says order gives way to chaos, in this case, change is good. Our new first officer is en route to the Resolut. Jara Rydek. I know she'll bring a welcome dose of new blood to the crew.
Thanks.
No problem.
I'm not great with flying. But
Ok,
these
on a un
little
timer.
shuttles are the worst.
Here's a tip. Don't close your eyes. You'd think that would make it easier, but it only makes it worse. Look out the window, pick a star, and just focus on that.
I'll give it a try.
Au propos, un impact sur l'équipage, ok. Oh, le sourire crispé.
Sorry, I'm a little anxious.
I hadn't noticed.
I'm on my way to my first assignment. When we get to the starbase, I'm transferring on to the Resolut.
So am I.
C'est toujours ok pour le son?
It won't be easy for Jara to step in at the 11th hour like this. But if she's half the officer I knew she could become when she was a cadet at Starfleet Academy, she'll be the XO this ship needs right now.
Merci, Prétori. Ça grésille des fois, mais ça vient du jeu, je pense. Ah tiens. On peut peut-être baisser... Est-ce que je peux baisser un petit peu? Pas sûr. Ce que je vais faire, c'est... Effet sonore. Non, volume des dialogues. Non, ça on est bon. Voilà.
A starbase on the very edge of Federation space. Long way from home now.
Commander? I'm not usually such a nervous wreck, by the way. I actually did well at the Academy.
Oh yeah?
Maybe you've heard of the Torvalen test?
Sounds familiar.
It's a tactical simulator that makes the Kobayashi Maru look like a picnic on Pintaris 5. Anyway, I finished in the top 20. Not just in my class. I mean, all time. In the history of the Academy. So, there's that.
Only top 20, huh? So I guess there's room for improvement.
Well, it's really, really hard.
So I've heard.
Please place your hand here. Hold it there for a few seconds. Welcome, Commander Rydek.
Wait, you're Jara Rydek? You absolutely crushed the Torvalen test. You finished in what, like the top 3?
That would be me.
Now I'm really... It's an honor to meet you, Commander. Sorry, I didn't realize before. I just came off the shuttle and was glad to be on solid ground.
The pleasure's mine, Ensign.
Paul Calloway.
Good to meet you.
I believe Commander Ermot is expecting you. He's in the concourse just ahead.
See you on the Resolut.
Bon, il y aura des conséquences hein, en fonction des choix de dialogue qu'on aura là, de ce qu'on va dire aux différents persos.
Commander.
If I remember my briefing, Commander Ermot is a Bolian, so I'm looking for someone with blue skin.
Ok, quelqu'un qui a la peau bleue.
You're going to the Resolut too?
Yeah, not the ship I was hoping for.
Why's that?
Well, you haven't heard? Some kind of accident. Their warp core overloaded.
Oh, whoa. That's a big deal.
They spent 6 months fixing it up.
Was it the captain's fault?
That's the rumor, yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm just... Well, I'm not sure where my departure dock is. The Resolut's gonna leave without me.
Look here. The Resolut is leaving from this dock.
Huh, you're right. Nerves must be getting to me. Thanks so much, Commander.
Elle a une bonne tête, je trouve.
Starbase 128 has 4 docks. I'll replicate myself a meal once I'm on board. Excuse me, have you seen a Bolian around here?
Yes, sir. Right back there, near the replicator.
Ah, there he is. Thank you.
Happy to help, Commander.
Excuse me.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, Commander Rydek. I'm Commander Jan Ermot, Operations Officer on the Resolut. Commander? I hope there wasn't too much trouble getting here. This storm isn't making anything easy for us right now. I know conditions are less than ideal at the moment.
It takes more than a little turbulence to rattle me.
I'm sure that's the case. we're grateful you were able to come fill our first officer vacancy at such short notice. From everything I've read and everything I've heard, we're lucky you were available to us. Coming from a premier starship and all. To our little research vessel.
What exactly have you heard about me?
First in your class at the Academy. Received the Starfleet Award of Valor during the Dominion War. Most recently, Tactical Officer and Chief of Security on the USS Endeavor.
You've done your homework.
Like I said, we're very lucky. The USS Resolut. She may not look like much compared to the bigger ships, but as far as science vessels go, she can more than hold her own. And she doesn't look so bad considering 6 months ago she was nearly cracked in half, venting plasma, fighting for her life.
It was an accident?
The equipment malfunction. An accident suggests fault, but no one's to blame. It was a planned test, but the warp core was pushed beyond its limits. It destabilized the dilithium, there was a runaway reaction, and the warp bubble deformed. We thought we could reach a higher resonant frequency, but it was more than she could handle. Cost us our first officer and 22 of our crew. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for each other. That's what it means to be a crew.
To have lost so many lives. That's a high price to pay.
Too high by any estimation. But there's nothing that can be done about it now except get back to work. And make sure it never happens again. Listen. I realize you've known Captain Solano for quite some time. And I'm sure you're ready to bring your best. But I should warn you that when the captain announced you would be the new first officer, there were those who felt it was a mistake, that he should have promoted from within. So you might want to tread lightly at first. Until they come to value your contributions as much as he does.
Ok, on doute de notre travail déjà.
Thank you. Always good to have a sense for what you're walking into.
I just thought you ought to know.
I appreciate it.
Starfleet has assigned us a high-priority mission to the Hotari region. I'll let the captain brief you on board. I know he's eager to see you.
Will we be mission ready in time?
We have every intention. The crew has been working around the clock to get the ship ready. There's still so much to do.
Stuck. I got just the thing.
La torche plasma, yes. Ok, petit tuto en même temps.
Is that.
I thought the thing was totally fried. Nice work, Carter.
Nothing to it, Neely.
And not a moment too soon. The boss wants us down in engineering. Like, now.
Ok, donc lui c'est le second personnage qu'on va incarner, du coup Diaz.
Engineer.
I heard the new XO just arrived. Won't be long before we get underway. I just hope whatever Chovak called us down for, it's something good. I can never tell with him. I'd rather not end up degaussing plasma manifolds. Hanging upside down makes me queasy.
What's the matter, Nilly? Afraid of a little hard work?
A little hard work? Really? A little? 6 months of putting this ship back together is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, and here we are. Just about ready to go.
Looks like we got here before.
Lieutenant Commander Chovak.
We were just looking for you, Commander.
Petty Officers Ed Solar, Diaz. I was beginning to think you would be late. We are all hands on deck right now, which means if you are not at your post at the appointed time, I do not have someone to replace you. A point I have been forced to make to Petty Officer Ed Solar.
Un quasi-retard n'est pas un retard.
Commander Chovak, isn't it true that if we were almost late, it categorically means that we were not late?
That is correct, Mr. Diaz.
I mean, if anything, Ed Solar and I are following the schedule to the letter.
Yes, perhaps I should adjust the schedule accordingly.
So, I don't suppose you wanted us down here to check in before we go off duty?
Et coucou les amis, comment ça va?
Suits to work on the exterior of the hull. I need you to tune the structural integrity field for optimal performance. The subspace distortions and ionic interference we are experiencing are preventing the proper calibration. But this ship must be ready to depart shortly, despite the storm. The precise nature of these disturbances are not fully understood. But many systems have been affected by the wide band of emissive activity.
How concerned should we be about the storm? Are you worried?
Vulcans do not worry. We calculate the variables and take appropriate precautions to mitigate the risk. Right now, that entails making critical preparations, because long-range sensors show that these disturbances will be more severe at our destination, the Hotari system. You have your orders. Do not delay.
Yes, Commander Chovak. All hands on deck.
What's that?
All hands on deck. That's what Chovak said. You know what that means? It means this ship isn't ready to go out and the brass know it. So they're throwing every warm body at it. And they're going to leave on schedule.
It all comes down to us, Nilly. We're the ones who will get it ready.
I know what we can do. But this isn't just any old refit or any old relaunch.
Oh, whoa.
Excuse me.
Et coucou Willy!
A lot of new faces coming on board. It's gotta be tough coming as a replacement. That's for sure.
Ça va très bien, merci. J'espère que vous aussi, bon courage pour le taf.
They seem alright. Something that happened 6 months ago while they were off on another ship? Well, that's nothing to hold against them.
Yeah, you're right. I guess getting a little new blood on board doesn't hurt. Hold on. Now there's an old face I didn't expect to see again. Hey, Miranda!
You weren't gonna leave without me, were you?
Miranda, you're here?
We thought you were staying on the Adirondack.
Transfer came in at the last minute, so I figured I'd slum it on this bucket of bolts. Looks like you got her back together pretty nicely. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Don't talk badly about one of the best ships in all of Starfleet.
We've rebuilt enough of her by now. She better be one of the best.
We'll see about that. But I am glad to be here. He still owes me a bottle of Saurian brandy. don't think I forgot.
Oh yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Maybe Carter can rustle up that bottle and we can give you a proper welcome. As soon as we wrap up this quick little spacewalk.
Pour l'instant, alors on démarre à peine le jeu, hein. On découvre les deux personnages qu'on va incarner, notamment le... que je reprenne mes petites notes. L'officier Jara Rydek, qu'on a vu juste avant, et là du coup on a l'ingénieur Carter Diaz au sein de l'USS Resolut. Donc on vient vraiment de démarrer l'aventure. Ça se déroule en 2380 après les événements de Star Trek The Next Generation. Voilà. Évidemment, c'est un Telltale. Enfin, c'est un Telltale. Ce n'est pas un Telltale, mais c'est fait par des anciens de Telltale. Donc, on a évidemment le côté choix avec conséquence. On a le côté embranchement, plusieurs embranchements possibles dans le jeu. La façon dont tu vas parler au personnage, bah, du coup, ça va avoir des conséquences sur ta notoriété, je pense, dans le vaisseau et ce qui va s'en suivre. À voir. Pour l'instant, on démarre. Pour l'instant, c'est pas trop mal. Le jeu, par contre, attention, hein, comme dit, moi je me suis mis en clavier QWERTY ou manette. Voilà.
Here, let me help you.
Thanks.
So what's the word? Are you back in the security rotation?
Yep. Still running with the usual suspects.
Whoa.
Good to go. See you on the other side.
On soit de l'autre côté.
Activating magnetic souls.
Quelques petits ralentissements des fois dans le jeu, mais très infimes. Après, il est sorti il y a une semaine. Bon, ils avaient dit qu'il y aurait des patchs, hein, de toute façon, dessus.
Have you never gets old.
Let's go.
Captain Solano should be here momentarily.
Donc ça, c'est le second perso qu'on incarne.
You'll have to forgive me, I don't know much about Kobleods. But my understanding is you need a steady supply of duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen. And we have plenty of duridium in sickbay, so there's no risk of running out.
Thank you.
Feel free to make yourself at home. And help yourself to whatever you like from the replicator.
He's still got a thing for trains. The warp engines of their day, apparently.
Jara Rydek. Last time I saw you, it was graduation from the academy. You'd already secured one of the most prestigious assignments possible. And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrit Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolut. My only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare. But, unfortunately, we've had our hands full with the refit.
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
You've been here all of 5 minutes, and already you're trying to make us more efficient. I like it. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
You'll have to forgive me. I don't really know the details.
Starfleet has been kind enough to keep the story contained, probably because they want to protect me. But I don't mind telling you. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second. The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career. Right there. Within our grasp. Until it all went so horribly wrong. We pushed her too hard, and a warp core malfunction overloaded the system, creating a pressure gradient way beyond what the ship could handle. It was heartbreaking. We lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
We all know the risks when we sign up. There are no guarantees. As much as we tell ourselves otherwise.
True. But as captain, my job is to mitigate and manage the risks as much as possible. And that's where I failed. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO, and I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course of action, I need everyone to fully commit to the mission. Anything short of that just won't work.
Ouais, enfin, si on n'est pas d'accord avec ce que tu dis... Attends, et si c'est pas le cas, si je suis pas d'accord avec tout ce qu'il dit...
And what happens if they don't?
There's a chain of command for a reason. We all have our orders.
That's true. Everyone on this ship should know that.
Sometimes the occasional reminder doesn't hurt. Look, I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake. Or at least, I can't. I feel like my career is hanging in the balance here. We need a win. Something to restore the crew's confidence.
I understand.
On a more positive note, Starfleet has tasked us with what they're calling a mission of the highest priority. Escorting a senior diplomat to Hotari space. Two previously peaceful and otherwise non-aggressive civilizations now find themselves on the brink of all-out war.
So it's a peacekeeping mission.
I see it as a golden opportunity to not only prove what the Resolut and her crew are truly capable of, but also a mission for which we're uniquely qualified. This ionic storm. Our long-range sensors suggest it's several orders of magnitude stronger than anything on record. A total anomaly like nothing we've seen before. And you'll never guess where it leads.
Hotari.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details of the rendezvous.
But are we prepared to embark on the mission?
As much as I'd like to think that's true, I have my doubts. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to clarify up front. The metric that for me will be the ultimate measure of your success.
What is it?
If after serving as my first officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own, then I will consider it my personal failure. When that might happen is entirely up to you. But it goes without saying, you have my full support.
It's been a dream of mine since before I can remember. so I would be honored to become a captain someday.
As long as you're willing to do the work, you have my promise. I'll do everything in my power to see that it happens.
Thank you.
Come, let me introduce you to the crew.
Je sais pas trop quoi penser de lui, hein.
Everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment. I'd like to introduce Commander Jara Rydek, our new first officer. Some quick introductions. This is Lieutenant Handar, our helmsman, one of the best in the business.
One of?
Well, what he lacks in humility, he more than makes up for in ability.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander.
Likewise.
Next, we have Commander Westbrook, our Chief Science Officer. I've come to rely on his expert counsel on a regular basis.
Pleasure.
Commander Rydek, it is such an honor to meet you.
This is our tactical officer, Lieutenant Bedrosian, who's been looking forward to meeting you for about as long as I can remember.
I've been following your career for quite some time, and I look forward to learning as much as I can from you.
If anything, the honor is mine.
Well, I have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad, because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves, and you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect others who need it. I really admire that. So, you've been something of an inspiration to me. Not that I've done anything close to what you've done, but you definitely set a standard to strive for.
That's very kind of you to say, but enough about me. We have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yes, of course.
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont. Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. I have an urgent meeting with the starbase commander to get our authorization to get underway. If they drag their feet any longer, we won't make our rendezvous. The bridge is yours.
Ah, la passerelle est à vous, magnifique. Ah, est-ce qu'il faut que je parle aux gens avant de m'asseoir en mode capitaine, là? Bon, ils ont rien à dire. Ah, si. Ah.
The helm. The Resolut is a refitted Centaur class, meaning it's capable of quick maneuvers. Can't wait to see what she can do.
Coucou Witabix, comment ça va?
Science station. The Resolut is a science vessel, primarily. Might explain Commander Westbrook's attitude. I'll have to speak with him later.
Alors cette fin d'Andromeda, bah écoute, c'était très bien. C'était très bien et comme tu peux voir, on reste encore dans l'espace. Non, c'était cool Andromeda. Je suis contente de l'avoir fini. Et du coup, c'est marrant parce que je parlais encore la semaine dernière de prendre Andromeda comme une aventure de Star Trek, tu sais, où tu as des missions par épisode comme ça. Vu que tu peux continuer après l'aventure, après avoir fini l'histoire principale sur Andromeda, tu peux repartir vers tes quêtes et d'autres missions. Et c'est vrai que je disais en plus, on pourrait se mettre dans la peau d'un personnage dans Star Trek, tu vois, qui part en mission et une fois qu'il a fini sa mission, part pour de nouvelles aventures. Et ben, nous voici aujourd'hui sur Star Trek Resurgence. On reste dans l'espace, voilà. Et triste de l'avoir fini. Ben, c'était une belle aventure qui aura quand même duré plusieurs semaines hein, sur Andromeda, hein, puisque notamment avant on avait fini quand même la trilogie des Mass Effect. Donc question Mass Effect, on a fait la totale là. Hein. Et on aura quand même passé quasiment 2 mois dessus. Triste de l'avoir fini, oui et non. Je suis contente de l'avoir découvert, surtout de l'avoir fini du fait d'avoir une fin à l'histoire principale. mais ça reste une satisfaction malgré le fait que je l'ai fini, quoi. C'est pas trop gênant, quoi. Ah, les Star Trek, moi je me rappelle encore des séries à l'époque, hein, parce que c'est vraiment vieux, hein, les Star Trek. Hein. Puis après, t'as eu les films aussi, quoi.
So many decks, full of crew that are now my responsibility.
Là, c'est sûr qu'on change de ton. On part sur un Star Trek, on part sur le studio, sur un nouveau studio indépendant qui a été créé par les anciens de Telltale. Le jeu n'est pas en français, il est sous-titré en VF. C'est une toute nouvelle découverte. C'est sûr que la DA, elle est différente aussi. Mais ouais, à découvrir. Les films sont meilleurs. Ouais, après c'est vrai que c'était un peu cucu à l'époque, hein, j'avoue, la série. Mais après, quand tu le remets dans le contexte de l'époque, ça passait. Hein. Après, c'est sûr que tu regardes certaines séries aujourd'hui qui ont 20 ans, 30 ans, ouais, ça pique un peu. Donc on est content d'avoir les films qui sont un peu remis au goût du jour et qui relancent du coup un peu la saga, quoi. La saga de notre enfance.
Communications keeps us in contact internally and with other vessels.
Salut Vince, comment ça va? Tu joues à Star Wars, Star Trek. Star Trek, le jour où... quoique, hein, j'attends le Star Wars... Est-ce que c'est Eclipse? J'attends Eclipse. J'attends Eclipse avec impatience. Non, là, on découvre tranquillement... on découvre tranquillement la saga Star Trek, quoi. Tu veux être pendu? Pourquoi? Je suis capitaine.
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters in response to the danger posed by the storm. We just need your go-ahead.
Ok, bah go, hein.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field, now.
Entering maintenance mode. Condition blue.
Aurait-on un pépin au démarrage déjà? Ah.
The storm is getting worse.
Looks like they turned off the SIF.
Great. Let's get to that emitter. Every time we're out here, I half expect to see her in pieces again.
She's still got some scars on her. It adds character.
When I joined Starfleet, all I wanted was a ride out of town. But this isn't exactly how I pictured it.
On the outside of the ship?
No. Sometimes it feels like we're just part of the machinery. Don't you want more than that? I mean, Starfleet is noble and all, but it's still a machine. A massive, massive machine.
Now, what are you complaining about? We got the best seat in the house out here. You wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere, see new worlds, look up at a sky no one's ever seen before. Just because I'm cranking a hyperspanner up in a Jeffries tube today doesn't mean that's all I'll ever be. Diaz to Commander Chovak. We are at the SIF emitter.
Acknowledged. You may proceed with the recalibration.
Beginning recalibration.
Careful. Too much action and harmonics will deflect the alignment.
Ok. Alors, régler le module, déplacer l'outil, ok.
Looks good. That wasn't so hard.
Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive. Yes, I'm the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside and out. Better than just about anyone.
What a very impressive list of credentials.
This is a research and discovery ship, first and foremost. Now with a former tactical officer as its new first officer. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all. But if, as an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion, what would happen then? You'd leave Captain Solano without an XO. Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario, but not outside the realm of possibility.
That's very kind of you to be concerned about my well-being. But you don't need to trouble yourself on my account. I'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't say I was concerned, just curious, that's all. Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill.
Ah ouais, quand je disais qu'on n'était pas apprécié...
And he was one of my closest friends.
Ok, mec, t'as un problème, je pense.
So I can only hope that you'll live up to expectations.
Mr. Westbrook, if you have some kind of problem with me, and you just met me so it has nothing to do with me, you're gonna have to figure out how to get over it. Because I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere.
Eh ouais.
Do you read me?
Loud and clear. I'll stick to science. That is what this ship is for.
Very well.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into. It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolut will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
Par le sas, ce
We've got a
guignol.
massive energy wave inbound.
On screen.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if my projections are right, we're about to get hit by a wideband burst of ionic energy. Like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormalities all over the ship.
Estimated time to
Red alert!
Aye. Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
Ok.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
That's right, which is why we need to send power to our shields.
Petrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by. I need a heading.
We've only got one shot. Understood. On my command.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Heading locked. Raise shields.
This is it!
All hands, brace for impact.
What happened?
We have experienced a surge of radiation.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
Blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the access port to recalibrate the port nacelle plasma regulator.
C'est un jeu solo, ouais. Coucou Litander. Alors, le jeu est sorti le 23 mai.
Understood.
Il est dispo sur Epic. Et on a effectivement quelques petits couacs en termes de traduction. Ça, on le savait.
Affirmative.
Engage the override. It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
J'adore Star Trek. Ben, moi, je vous avoue, j'aime Star Trek, Star Wars et Stargate. Voilà.
Diaz to Resolut. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
Ok, équipé du phaser, viser, tirer. Ok.
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
Ok. Pétard, ok. Tout va bien.
Are you alright?
Oui, oui.
Sue took most of it. Snuck up on me.
That damaged your suit. Energy dampening is down to 60%. We're almost to the regulator.
J'avoue, hein, ça fait très télécommande. Hein. J'avoue.
I am now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
Ok.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral.
Alors du coup, Litender, on est sur un jeu solo où les choix ont des conséquences, créé par les anciens de chez Telltale, du studio Telltale, voilà. Manette au clavier, par contre, si tu joues au clavier, c'est quoi? C'est QWERTY, hein. Voilà. Et le jeu n'est pas en français, comme habituellement on a l'habitude avec les Telltale, il est en VO sous-titré en français, hein.
EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, chowa can... Too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release this ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
Not working?
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts for an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us.
Put him through.
Resolut, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
We have crew outside and are looking for the safest way to...
We have people on this station. If that mooring arm breaks, we could lose dozens of crew.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order.
Oula!
Jara?
Captain, you brought me here because you trusted me. Can you trust me now?
Ouais.
You better be sure you make the right decision.
The captain made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
On va faire ça.
Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
Grab my hand! I got you.
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Allez. Oh.
Hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc if you approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander, the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Edsolar there to access the interior.
Roger that. We're going there now.
Ah ouais. Bon, le côté choix rapide, j'aime bien. Faut réfléchir vite et prendre les bonnes décisions.
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time. No time to fight me on this. Get in there.
You better be right behind me.
Aïe aïe aïe. Aïe aïe aïe. Le jeu s'articule comme une nouvelle série Star Trek avec son propre vaisseau et son propre équipage. En fait, l'aventure... Je te réponds après. Ils sont rentrés, ok. Dès que ça a fini de parler...
They're safe. Bringing the Sif fully online.
Do it.
Ok, ça c'est fait. Alors du coup, l'aventure, on a deux personnages. Si tu veux, on a Jara et on a Carter qu'on vient de voir juste avant. Ils sont embarqués dans un conflit.
I'm okay. But Edsolar...
Donc
Here, let me help you.
on est bien sur une nouvelle histoire qui se déroule en 2380 après les événements de Star Trek The Next Generation. Pour répondre à ta question du coup litandaire. Donc ça colle, si tu veux, c'est après justement The Next Generation, avec des personnages que toi tu dois incarner, donc deux personnages que tu incarnes dans une guerre entre races aliens, qui sont généralement plutôt calmes, mais qui là veulent se rentrer dedans, donc on doit préserver la paix. Donc voilà un peu le but de ce Star Trek là. Bon, désolé pour elle par contre. Hein.
Medical. We've got one wounded at my location. Millie.
Oh man.
Mais ce qui est cool dans les...
See you at sick bay.
Ce qui est cool dans tout ce qui est un peu Telltale, et ça rejoint un peu les Telltale, hein, même si c'est l'ancienne équipe qui l'a fait, ce côté choix, conséquence, c'est génial quoi.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermont?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolut. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
Bon, il est pas content lui par contre. Hein. On va se faire engueuler.
You disobeyed my orders.
Voilà. C'était la bonne décision. On va pas dire j'aurais pas dû faire ça, pardon. Non, 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 non.
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information
You
I had.
disobeyed my orders. And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the starbase staff as well. That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship? From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
Maybe I shouldn't have disobeyed a direct order, but you were wrong. You weren't on board, and you didn't have all the information. So I made the right decision for the ship. If you're worried about your credibility, put your ego aside and trust your crew. Trust me.
You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes.
Justement, il était pas là.
Just boil it down to you did what you had to.
Suis-je destitué?
Don't have to be good enough for me.
Am I dismissed, sir?
Dismissed? We have work to do. Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermont, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir.
Eh ben, selon le règlement de Starfleet, les officiers ont le devoir de désobéir si le supérieur au tort. Ça tombe bien, je pense que ça va arriver souvent. Hein. Ça risque d'arriver souvent. Tant pis dans la série en ce moment, bah ça tombe à pic. TNG en ce moment, une des rares séries que je n'ai pas encore vues.
All departments reporting full mission readiness. We've got our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Bah, il était pas là, le gars. Attends, t'es en plein stress là de la situation. Tu dois prendre une décision rapide. Il est drôle, quoi.
Sit, everyone. You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar.
Bah, elle est officier sous son commandement à lui, quoi. Je dirais plutôt qu'elle est numéro 2, tu vois, vu que lui, il peut nous rétrograder, il peut nous virer, et que l'ancien, la personne qu'on remplace, lui désobéissait aussi. Hein.
That should do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Helm. Make way.
Ah ben dans ce cas c'est ça alors, dans le langage de Starfleet, le numéro 1 est officier qui vient juste après le capitaine comme Spock ou Will Rider dans TNG. Bah ce serait ça. Ce serait tout à fait ça alors. Ne tombe pas, Louloute.
Easy. Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside.
Oula.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on her, but she'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your duridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer. To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before.
Kobliad.
I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the duridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet, and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
It does make me unique, but it's not a burden at all. I'm honored to be Kobliad, to represent my people.
As you should be. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. A major innovation. Something he can put his name on.
I hear you. But that's my job, isn't it? To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Which is exactly why I'm so glad you're here. We need you now more than ever. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Huh. I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure's almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Il lui faut du duridium pour survivre.
My work here is done.
Apparemment, les personnes de son espèce sont rares.
Lieutenant Bedrosian, I came to see if you were okay. We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I'm feeling much better. Thank you. It's just part of who I am.
You don't have to explain to me. I understand. I'm just glad you're okay. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
Les races aliens sont beaucoup moins exotiques que dans Star Wars ou Mass Effect, c'est peut-être dommage. Un petit peu, ouais, j'avoue.
Complete the diagnostic sequence and this shuttle will be cleared for service.
Yes, sir.
Storm in the Hotari region will interfere with our transporters. So we need all
Mais plus
available
crédible,
shuttlecraft
pas faux
in
non
working
plus.
order.
Pas faux non plus. Il y a un côté plus naturel en fait. Bon, t'as du bleu, t'as du vert, t'as du rouge. On a vu au début du jeu. C'est peut-être plus subtil, du coup aussi le côté race alien. Pour l'instant, après on n'a pas rencontré tout le monde, on n'est qu'au début du jeu. Mais de ce qu'on peut voir, en gros, dans l'histoire, on a le capitaine qui nous a un peu réprimandé juste avant, qui a eu un accident il y a à peu près 6 mois avec ce vaisseau-là. Il y a eu beaucoup de pertes et de ce que lui nous a dit, son second, donc le premier du coup, hein, comme tu utilisais le terme Litander, le premier ne soutenait pas le commandant, n'a pas soutenu le commandant. Il y a eu un accident, il y a eu beaucoup de blessés, beaucoup de morts et le vaisseau a été en réparation pendant plusieurs mois. Et là du coup on a une nouvelle flotte, on a elle qui arrive, on incarne donc les 2 personnages qui sont là. Je pense que ça va être intéressant de voir, parce qu'en plus ce qu'il faut dire c'est qu'au niveau du jeu, la réaction que tu as par rapport aux autres personnages va faire en sorte que tu les as dans la poche ou pas, qu'ils te font confiance ou non, qu'ils te suivent ou pas sur une de tes décisions, hein. Donc là pour l'instant on a plutôt, je vois qu'on est plutôt sur une bonne moyenne en tout cas de relationnel. Après à voir si ça va persister quoi. Mis à part avec le chef. Mais bon, si c'est pas la bonne décision hein, qu'il prend, moi je prends autre chose. Hein.
Excuse me, Commander Chowa.
Petty Officer Maris, I will leave you to your work.
I stopped by sickbay and saw Millie. I figured you'd want to know.
It's my fault she's in there. I should have made her go first.
Maybe, but I wouldn't want to see you hurt like that any more than her. Dr. Duval said she'll be back on duty soon, though.
Come on. I have to run the final diagnostic.
C'est vrai que je l'aurais peut-être pas blessée si elle était passée avant lui. Hein.
I've got a long to-do list before we get to Hotari, and things are piling on faster than I can check them off. We're making all our last-minute checks in security, too. Tactical and security are short-staffed.
Hey, you don't have to keep me company. If you got things to do, go do them.
No. I'm here because of my to-do list.
Oh?
There are some things that never seem to have the right time. So why not now? I had a chance to think about this while I was away. Then you and Millie almost got killed out on the hull. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse.
Miranda, is everything all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Maybe even better than fine. What I'm trying to say is, we've been really good friends for a long time. But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
Ok, on a une déclaration.
Are you sure about this?
They're my feelings. Of course I'm sure. I know what I'm asking, which is why I'm being direct. I like you, Carter. And I think there could be something more for us.
Attends 2 secondes, on la connaît à peine. Hein.
What do
Et
you
j'en
say?
pense 2 secondes.
That's a lot to think about.
I know it is.
So, maybe I should think it over.
Oh, yeah, take as long as you need. I get it. But don't leave me hanging.
Ouais. Bah, laisse-nous réfléchir quand même sur cette
I
idylle.
just
Hein.
don't want this to be weird now. Millie saw it coming. She said it might make things uncomfortable if I said something. And that's the last thing I want. You're important to me. If that wasn't obvious.
She really said that? You talked about it with her?
Who else would I talk to about this?
Fair enough.
Level 1 diagnostic complete.
You've got some thinking to do. Just don't take too long.
Ok, donc on peut avoir des relations un peu plus poussées, mais elle nous saute un peu dessus là, doucement. Ok. Dans quelques jours, je serai capitaine de vaisseau dans une campagne de JDR Star Trek. J'ai trop hâte. Ah bah GG Litander. Tu nous raconteras tes prouesses du coup. C'est cool ça.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Ionic interference surging, Captain.
Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types. I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolut. Shuttle to Resolut. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
It won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
On a un diplomate à récupérer.
You good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation. We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
Allez.
That's gonna take out the shuttle. Diaz, the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it.
Attends. Protéger la navette des astéroïdes à l'aide du bouclier.
Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17, 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Yeah.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge. Shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Bon, c'est qui l'ambassadeur? On n'a pas d'infos hein, pour l'instant. Bah, je pense que ça va être cool ton aventure Star Trek JDR, Litander.
Terra firma,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Ambassador Spock.
Yes, Spock.
The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Les bastons, c'est mieux. Hein. Atterrissage brutal, ça va, ça allait. Hein. Bienvenue à bord.
Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Resolut, Ambassador.
Thank you, Petty Officer...
Carter? Carter Diaz, sir.
I am pleased to meet you, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival. Your assistance arrived not a moment too soon, if I may say so.
Well, it wasn't all me. I got some help from upstairs.
A bombastic approach to clearing debris. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Yes, it would seem further investigation is called for.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer Diaz. Thank you.
Ambassador Spock.
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
Et devenu ambassadeur comme son père, yes. Alors, j'aurais pu faire d'autres choix jusqu'ici, hein, par contre. Hein. Il y aurait eu d'autres conséquences. Qui disent quand même qu'il y a pas mal d'embranchements possibles dans le jeu.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
Your experience comes from the past. But our present situation calls for it.
True enough.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Illydians have shared a mining operation there. The Illydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Illydians from their system.
Ah ouais.
That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
How is it the Hotari were able to turn the tables and take the mines against superior forces, especially after decades in this arrangement?
Unclear. The answer to that question may be the key to a new, lasting peace, and one that I hope we can uncover during these negotiations. But it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Elydian fleet if this escalates to open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
We can call it profitable or mutually beneficial, but at the end of the day, the Hotari are still being exploited for their own resources.
True peace is not merely the absence of war. And as such, this conflict will surely come again.
Neither the Elydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Elydians as a source of dilithium.
Ah.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
So we've already played a part in this.
Unfortunately, that is indeed the case, Commander Rydek.
We're morally obligated to make this right.
Hold on. Our only obligation is to negotiate the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Elydium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Elydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
That may answer why the Hotari were able to strike back after so long. They finally had an opportunity, and they took it.
That would also explain the Elydians' restraint.
And reason to learn as much about the energy anomaly as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught at a disadvantage of our own. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
Oh, quel bordel!
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Du dilithium, c'est très rare et indispensable pour voyager plus vite que la lumière, donc très
Ambassador
prisé.
Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way.
Oh là là.
Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
I'm perfectly happy to work outside the lines.
And by extension, you will be doing your duty, Commander.
Just not too far outside the lines. Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
J'adore, je me sens comme à la maison. Je me sens à la maison. Ben, l'étendaire, ça veut dire qu'ils ont bien travaillé, je pense. Alors, ça, les informations collent. Hein. Donc là, il va falloir qu'on s'arrange entre les Alidiens et les Otaries, quoi. C'est que le job, pour l'instant, il est fait, hein. C'était comme à la maison, dans le jeu.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
Commander Chovak, is there anything you do enjoy?
I take pleasure in the satisfaction of a job well done. I suggest you try it sometime. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
Was that a joke?
No, couldn't have been. One nice thing about Vulcans, Chovak is the only person who didn't look at this and treat me like I was something to pity. Doc says I should get used to it. Doesn't mean I want to be reminded of it every minute of the day.
Hey, you won't get pity from me. I think it makes you look tough. As tough as you really are, that is.
And that makes you sound pretty smart. I might need you to save me from myself next time, though. Come on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Ouais, les Vulcains, ils ont toujours été spéciaux, hein.
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Mais le truc en plus, c'est qu'on va, alors on checkera à la fin du live, hein, tout ce qui est relationnel, on verra où on en est avec chaque personnage. Mais visiblement avec l'autre, c'est pas ça, quoi. Un petit diagnostic.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
I bet you do.
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation.
Eh, Miranda, oui.
Yes or no, that's one thing. But I can't believe you said you needed to think about it.
I did need to think about it.
Well, you can't leave this unsettled. It's not fair to her. She was direct with you. Didn't play games.
Ah, désolé, hein.
You.
Ouais.
Well, honestly, I was worried you wouldn't approve of, you know, fraternization with...
Don't make this about me. You can see where this goes between you two, or you can stay friends. But don't screw this up. I like my friends, and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
Mm-hmm.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array.
Ok, alors, wow, utilisation du tricorder. Votre tricorder peut enregistrer et analyser les données, le regarder, révélera l'invisible. Utilisez 2 pour vous équiper ou rengainer votre tricorder. Ok. Vous devez être à proximité de certains objets pour les scanner. Regardez le cadre à l'écran pour voir si vous êtes trop loin. Certains objets que vous scannerez activeront un scan en profondeur. Lors d'un scan en profondeur, utilisez Q et E pour changer le mode de scan et chercher les objets brillants. Q et E, ok. Changer le mode de scan. Alors, circuit, ok. Fonctionne normalement. Ok. Aucun dégât. Ou parasiter. Effectuer une dernière analyse. Ok.
Navigation array checks out, so it must be a coil.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Oh, Miranda.
Hey, going planet side?
Yep, as soon as the negotiating team comes down from the bridge. And you've got your hands full, opening every compartment on this shuttle. I hope you're not just trying to keep busy to avoid thinking about some other things. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. And lucky for you, I've got a ride to catch.
Well, this is important work. On an important shuttle.
The ambassadors.
Ah. I won't tell Spock you're digging through his things.
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Get y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go. So, you've had time to think. You have something you want to say to me? The train is leaving the station. I'd like to know what I'm coming back to. That was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Save some of that for when I get back.
We've got a deal.
Ah, Littendaire, si tu fais le jeu, tu peux dire non. Hein.
Be seeing you.
Tu pourras dire non. Hein. Après, elle va peut-être mourir, qui sait. Hein. On verra.
Carter Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go. All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now.
Ok, alors qu'est-ce qui s'est passé avec la navette là?
Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolut computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Ah, c'est à toi, je crois que ta supérieure est une Trill. J'ai pas retenu encore pour l'instant les races aliens de chaque membre d'équipage. Coco Boop. Ah, Vince Plop, toujours les boobs. Hein. Incroyable ça. Hein. Ça va, Boop? Mais j'avoue que les tatouages dans le visage comme ça lui... elle est stylée. Hein.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolut into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolut.
Resolut simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolut will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Siège du pouvoir. Ok.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you have come. My name is Tyler Saltaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours. And this is Commander Jara Rydek, first officer aboard the USS Resolut. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Illidians.
It's very nice to meet you.
Likewise. I hope...
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Sidron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Alors voilà, et là du coup on a les Alidiens.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
Ça va finir en baston général.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here. But that guy was something.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari. So I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
Ok. Ah, les trilles ont des symbiotes, d'accord. Ouais, si c'en est une, ça peut être un personnage intéressant, j'avoue. J'avoue, ouais.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Illidian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war!
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy was an understatement. I thought they wanted us here.
Pas maintenant, attends.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Non. Voilà.
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not
She
part
can
of...
speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
Merci. Ouais, elle est assez grande pour parler, hein, c'est bon. Hein.
Now then, one should know their place. What you might be somewhere else is not what you are here. Which is standing before a queen. And a queen deserves respect. A bow is not too much to ask.
Sérieux?
Is Hotari Prime, heart of the Hotari system.
My name is Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty. I prefer to be called by my name, not my species.
Then I suppose that makes us even. Commander Rydek. You are Kobliad. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Alidians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Alidians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
Ah, c'est compréhensible. Je cocherai le mal qui a été fait, je chercherai la paix.
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor. So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
Perhaps, Commander Rydek. Perhaps. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No, it was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need it most. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation.
Ah, attends.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but it's really not my place to say what the Federation's interests might be.
You are their representative.
I am. But Ambassador Spock is better suited to address your concerns.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Alidian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alidians?
Non, sérieux?
Only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that. I hope we meet again, Jara Rydek.
J'ai l'impression que ça saccade là par contre le live. À quelques fois là.
You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Est-ce que j'ai bien fait de choisir ce truc, les otaries? J'ai carrément un doute en fait. J'ai carrément un doute. J'aurais peut-être dû prendre les autres quoi.
Soothing. Such rough terrain. No wonder the Hotari are so tough.
Désolée, je me rends compte que je donne beaucoup d'explications sur le lore parce que je l'aime beaucoup. Mais si c'est considéré comme du spoil gênant, je me tais. Non, ça va. Non, ça va, Litander.
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Elidians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
Ouais,
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
I will keep that in mind.
I assume you were there, the day the mines were seized from the Elidians.
Not seized. Reclaimed. And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive. Before the Elidians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
Did you have help from someone else?
Hotari stands alone against the Elidian forces. We don't need help from anyone. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolut. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Elidians might have in store. Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
It wasn't designed as a warship. More for scientific research and exploration.
But the Federation must have ships designed for war.
Technically, they're Starfleet ships representing the Federation. But yes.
I see.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Bon, on est d'accord que les mines d'exploitation, à la base, elles appartenaient aux Otaries. Après, la Fédération, elle a fait du commerce avec les Alidiens pour ce minerai-là. Mais à la base, ça appartient quand même aux Otari. Pas que je me plante, là.
Commander Rydek, I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people. I'm afraid of what might happen without your help.
The Illidians have no right to your land. It was clear which side was more deserving of our recognition.
It's so different to have someone on our side. These are unusual times, to say the least. Much is changing. I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat. For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now, they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I take it they're against a negotiated peace with the Illidians.
Heroes tend to want more of what made them heroic. If it were up to them, they'd wage all-out war and bring ruin upon us all.
J'avoue que la reine, elle a été fort là.
The Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Do you think it has something to do with the ion storm? Right now, it's stronger than ever, isn't it?
It's entirely possible. I'm not a scientist, but I do know the storm has knocked out all kinds of systems. So maybe the Illidians weren't willing to risk their ships, given all the interference. Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist.
Quelque chose de...
I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Are you sure of this?
It's been the talk of the palace since the day of the revolt.
How can we know?
Il y aurait autre chose dans les mines.
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Oh, c'est risqué ce qu'on lui demande quand même de faire, là. Hein.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time. I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Illidian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. But clearly, you weren't aware.
Of all my concerns, dilithium is not one of them. I could care less about securing a supply, now or in the future.
I'd be curious to know if the rest of the Federation shares your indifference. Major Solid Arminta, Special Attaché, Elydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
Something tells me there's more to the story. So what really happened?
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mine? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You just answered your own question. How do a group of miners do something that in theory can't be done? That's how. Harnessing the storm.
But even if it's true, how does that even happen?
You tell me.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Rydek.
Faire un rapport de découverte au capitaine Solo. Tu vois, ces informations-là, on aurait pu les avoir avant que la reine nous fasse un mode tu me donnes ta réponse dans les 5 secondes hein, pour choisir un clan. Incroyable ça. Il n'y a plus personne, on peut pas leur parler à eux non plus, je pense. Ah, c'était compliqué quand même. Mais là, ce qu'on apprend au final, c'est que les Otari ont récupéré les mines, que dans les mines, visiblement, il y a autre chose qui les intéresse, qu'ils auraient maîtrisé l'orage pour justement faire leur émeute. J'ai activé le bâti. Bah, c'est bon, t'inquiète pas, l'étendard.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Elydians stormed out.
Okay.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Bah, visiblement, on n'a rien arrangé du tout. Hein. Pour l'instant, on n'a rien arrangé du tout. C'était compliqué, hein, dans cette situation-là en plus. Hein.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
It is evident that presently the Resolut cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Ah, ce qu'il est chiant, lui.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clearer picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Oh yeah.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Ok. Monter, descendre. Descends? Attends. Attends, monte.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolut systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
And, Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft. Now is not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
Chovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
I always seem to find a way to push his buttons. Yeah, I think he'd blast me out of the airlock if he thought it would help increase engine efficiency by 0.1%.
Well, don't worry about it. Chovak's opinion isn't the only one that matters. Last time I checked, I was still Chief Science Officer, and you made a hell of an impression on Ambassador Spock. I'm the one who should be worried with this new first officer on board.
Ça c'est du Star Trek, d'un côté les intrigues diplomatiques et de l'autre des discussions techniques auxquelles on ne comprend rien. Ah là-dessus ils sont fidèles hein.
This is far enough. Transporting the first probe into position. Westbrook here. The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
Problem?
I just can't get a handle on her. Commander Rydek. She rejected my plan to use a deflector pulse against the storm surge. But on the other, she did listen to my advice and use the whole polarity trick to get you through that excursion alive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new XO. I'm sure she's a fine officer, even if we don't see eye to eye. But she didn't go through what the rest of us did.
Oh là là.
You know that. And it's hard to figure out why she'd be the one Solano chose instead of, well, one of us.
I've heard some good things. You should at least give her a chance.
I'll take that under advisement.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Whoa. All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get another probe out there. With 2 points of data, the Resolut and the probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there.
Okay.
Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. And don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer. What a load of crap. I mean, if he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
Is that why you're being so friendly to me? Politics?
That would be clever, but I think you give me more credit than the captain does. You're all right, Diaz. And you've got potential. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work, and who knows? A solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Hell, Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot. And there are places to go in the enlisted ranks, too.
I love it. So put me up for promotion. I'm ready for my next challenge.
Well, I think you're going to have to prove that to your boss, Chovak, first. He's the one who has to put you up for consideration. If I were first officer, it would be different.
Out of hell with that guy. I'll never change his Vulcan mind about me. I'll just have to figure out some other way of getting myself promoted.
With that attitude, I'm sure you will. Here, this is close enough. Stop the engines. Deploying the probe. Westbrook to Commander Chovak. We're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1. On.
There it is again.
Seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolut, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
Ah.
We got something.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more.
Voilà, c'est officiel, je suis faible. J'ai acheté Diablo 4. Tu as acheté, aïe aïe aïe, 90 €. Ah. Espérons que tu as quelque chose d'intéressant à ce prix-là. Hein. C'est quel... T'as pris quoi, l'édition de luxe?
Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally. I don't know how they're doing it. This is like nothing I've ever seen.
Ok.
We're under attack and we didn't even know it. We need to stop them. Unplug whatever it is they're hitting us with.
Now, look here. It's current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations. They line up with the interference pattern.
Bah, les interférences, on sait que c'est du que c'est fait exprès. Hein.
Ouais. They're coming from the same place.
Voilà.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here.
C'est plus gros qu'un petit conflit, hein.
Part of something much bigger.
Ça, on le voyait venir depuis le début, hein.
Presently, we don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. But one thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out. A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
And here I thought the Elydians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
I don't know why the Hotari wanted us here, but it wasn't to negotiate.
Clearly, peace is not their intention.
Then what is? Why go through this charade?
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
Out of all of them, She's the one who seemed to genuinely appreciate that the Federation was involved. She believes in us, and I think we can believe in her.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Unless they changed their minds between when they asked and when we got here.
Given their indifference to the negotiations, and what we now know about this warp-disrupting weapon, it's almost as if they want to start a war. And Sidron was convinced the only thing the Illidians respect is force.
I would say he's right about that. But at least they know when to hold back.
But that does not explain why they would turn their aggressions against us.
I don't think the Illidians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Armintas said the revolt defied explanation. That the Hotari miners somehow harnessed the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm?
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Illidians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Ouais, il y a quelque chose sur tout ça. Hein.
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. The Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Ouais, je l'ai vu la vidéo sur Dragon Age, Lidanis, je l'ai regardé.
Galvin and Sidron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
C'est risqué, hein, quand même, ce qu'elle fait. Hein.
I found something. I'm sending you a scan.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
Ouais, j'espère aussi.
It's hard to tell.
We have to help her. Send another shuttle.
We're not doing anything yet. Not until we know more. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Je suis sûre qu'une girafe est derrière tout ça, c'est à coup monté.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolut. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Illidians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We were, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
What the Federation doesn't know won't hurt them. If I do it right, nobody will know I was there.
Commander, I'm surprised at you.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But a mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
As I was telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Hotari. Even better than our probes. So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the Melville when it sets down.
Will do.
I'll join you and Chovak down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
I didn't like this warp problem when we thought it was some astronomical anomaly. And I like it a hell of a lot less now that we know someone is doing it to us. How does it work? What do we even do about it?
What do you say we pull these chips and find out?
Took some damage on the way. That ionic interference scored the hull plating. Might be some micro welds. Let's try pulling together.
All right.
3, 2, 1. It won't budge. Gotta be the storm damage. We need to... Welcome back. Any excitement down on the surface?
Excitement? No. Nothing like that.
Hey, can you hand me the EJ7 interlock? From the toolbox.
I don't know what that is.
Not much use for one on a security detail, huh? Carter?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Parce qu'elle a d'un coup, là.
Okay, I'll apply pressure while you decouple the panel.
Here, I'll help.
We've got this.
Open up and say ah.
Thanks for the hand. We have to get these isolinear chips down to engineering.
No problem. You really know everything about these ships, don't you? The tools, the systems. Like a walking Starfleet technical manual.
Well, I wouldn't say everything, but I know my stuff.
I can see that.
Come on, start pulling chips.
What's this?
Some kind of crystal formation?
Whoa. This substance is a quantized spin crystallization of hydrogen, carbon, and lithium. It's emitting tetrametric pulses at an interval of 3.8422 seconds.
Quantized crystallization isn't natural. I mean, it's only theoretical as a means to engineer matter on a subatomic level. What's it doing in there?
Oula, je suis pas sûre que ça...
Wait. Regulation 364, subsection 9.
What?
Regulation 364, subsection 9 orders that in the case of an unknown foreign substance infiltrating a sealed system, it will be placed in secure confinement before further examination. Retrieve a containment module.
Don't you think we're more equipped to deal with whatever this is?
No. Before anything else, this is a security issue. You don't even know what this is.
Which is why we need to study it.
Once it's contained.
Well, if it's not natural, then someone might have put it there. It could be a tracking device. Some kind of sabotage. Or even a bomb.
Which is why we need to get it to the containment lab.
Come on.
I can't make an exception. Not even for you.
I'm still going to report these crystals to Commander Westbrook when we send the shuttle data.
And I will inform my superiors. I'm taking this just as seriously as you are. But I overheard talk about the warp disruption on the shuttle. Now these crystals? Maybe this situation is more than we can handle with just a science vessel. We could trigger a distress call, get Starfleet to send more ships. Or I could send a message to my old CO on the Adirondack. Get some combat-tested vessels. We shouldn't do this alone.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. If you think you could do it without getting in trouble.
I'll find a way.
Be very careful.
Okay, stand back. Get this to the containment lab. We'll get it set up for you. I'll let you know when it's safely confined.
Oh, we'll be there.
Last thing you want is to study this down in main engineering and have it explode next to the warp core. Almost forgot.
Can't have that.
For a second, I thought she'd gone cold on you. Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked. Maybe she knows more than us?
Je l'ai trouvé
Or it's
bizarre,
'cause this
moi.
is all happening so fast.
Yeah, there was something a little off about her.
Like that talk about sending a distress call? That was pretty out there. Although, you didn't seem to think so. She was probably just thinking out loud. I'm sure she'll come to her senses. This mission has enough complications stacking up.
Now, we'll get through it. You, me, and Miranda too.
Commander Rydek was able to work behind the scenes during the negotiations and made contact with a representative from the Hotari delegation named Tylus. She mentioned an unusual artifact of unknown origin being held under tight security within the Hotari Palace, which she believes came from the mines on Tau. Now, this artifact might have a connection to the revolt, to the storm, and to the warp disruption we now know has been targeted at the Resolut. Commander Rydek, if you want to take it from here.
Of course. Tylus managed to infiltrate the heavily guarded location within the palace and sent us these scans using my tricorder. It appears to be some sort of control panel, possibly connected to the warp disruption weapon originating on Tau. Of particular interest is this symbol, which we couldn't identify the origin of.
The Federation database has records from a vast number of civilizations. If anyone from Starfleet has come across this before, the system should recognize it.
Cross-referencing with Federation records.
Displaying symbols from Federation database with a 90% probability of match or higher. Select a symbol to further analyze. .2% match.
Got it.
So, what are we looking at?
The design and composition indicate this is a glyph associated with the ancient Khan Empire. Their civilization collapsed over 600,000 years ago, but once spanned millions of systems with a population numbering in the trillions.
Fascinating. The Takan were once the most advanced, most powerful civilization in the galaxy.
Is it possible the Hotari found Takan technology?
I wonder if they even know what they have.
Our knowledge of the Takan is limited. I have only encountered passing references to them.
We don't have the first idea what this is or what it means. And we have all of the Federation records available to us.
Perhaps we should see what else the Federation records show.
Computer, what is the last recorded discovery of other Takan artifacts?
On Stardate 41386.4, the
Jean-Luc
USS
Picard.
Enterprise D, under the command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, discovered a Takan outpost in the Delphi Ardu system. According to the mission summary, an unbreakable energy-draining field was deployed against the Enterprise and a Ferengi ship. The Enterprise was only able to escape after negotiating their release with an entity known as Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire.
Unbreakable energy draining field. It starts to make sense.
What else is there?
There's a lot here. Let's take it piece by piece.
Select the aspect you wish to learn more about.
Oh bah on va tous se les faire, hein, de toute façon. Portail 6-3, Enterprise.
The technology to capture and hold the Federation flagship would have to be unbelievably powerful. Computer, what else can you tell us about the energy-draining field the Takan used?
The Enterprise D was unable to break free on its own. The precise nature of the technology was never fully understood. Only that the crystalline technology used was beyond the comprehension of then-current Starfleet science.
The engineering team found a quantized spin crystal formation in the shuttle you took to Hotari. They registered tetrametric radiation coming from it.
We have Takan technology on board right now?
We might. I'll run a full analysis in the containment lab.
Eh ben.
There appears to be some sort of restriction order from Starfleet. Computer, explain this restriction.
A Starfleet directive similar to General Order 7 forbids entering the Delphi Ardu system or attempting to make contact with Portal 6-3.
Starfleet doesn't throw up a no trespassing sign for just anybody.
I suppose it makes sense considering what happened to the Enterprise D.
What sort of planet is Delphi Ardu 4?
Delphi Ardu 4 is an M-class planet, a barren rocky world with little to no vegetation and frequent ion storms. The giant crystals that grow there absorb energy, but it is not understood how they do so. The entire Delphi Ardu system, consisting of 11 planets, was considered completely uninhabited until the encounter with Portal 6-3.
Frequent ion storms. That can't just be a coincidence. Someone from the Takan Empire is actually still around.
Or at least was, 16 years ago.
Computer, what other information do you have on Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire?
The entity known as Portal 6-3 is of an unknown nature. A biped humanoid, he was unaware that the Takan Empire no longer existed at the time of the encounter. He was able to control the crystal-based technology of the Takan outpost through apparent telepathic means. It was by his choice that the Enterprise was released from the energy draining field after Commander William T. Riker of the Away Team argued on behalf of both Starfleet and the Ferengi.
Telepathic control of their technology.
As I have said, they were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy.
The Elydians should have crushed the revolt. But if the Hotari have Takan technology and can control it, I see why they're willing to negotiate peace. For all we know, this could be just the beginning. And we're up against something greater than we can imagine.
For now, it's probably best we don't let on how much we know.
Play our cards close to the vest. Smart. I agree. Then when the time is right, we can confront them.
Diplomatically, of course.
Right.
We've been able to triangulate the source of the ionic interference and warp disruption to a specific mine on Tau. Engineering used the latest data from your shuttle to pinpoint its origin. There.
So we know where to look.
We need to know what's down there. What the Hotari are hiding, to better understand what we're up against. And to neutralize it if we can.
Captain, embarking on a mission to the Hotari moon would not be viewed favorably by either side. However, given the circumstances, we are entirely within our rights to defend ourselves.
I just want to make sure this doesn't blow up in our faces. Which is why I'm thinking of sending Commander Rydek on a covert mission to Tau. Assuming you're up to the task. It would require absolute secrecy. And obviously, it's not without risk.
I'll get the away team in and out. They're in safe hands with me.
Under normal circumstances, that would be the case. Given the sensitive nature of this incursion, I'm afraid you'll have to go it alone. I'm hoping Tylus can accompany you. The priority is to avoid detection. It's a calculated risk. The last thing we need is to get caught and then blamed for violating our neutrality and aggravating an already tense situation. We can't afford any mistakes, which is why I've chosen you.
Tylus will be essential to my success. Not only her knowledge of the mines, but her ability to gain access, particularly now that we know which mine we need to get into.
Make sure she understands the need to keep this covert.
She's not going to want her people to know about this.
Get in touch with Tylus and make the necessary arrangements as discreetly as possible.
Bridge to Captain Solano. The Illydians have moved additional ships to the edge of the Hotari system. Current heading is straight for the homeworld.
Understood.
It would seem we no longer have the luxury of waiting. In that case, may I suggest you and I return to Hotari Prime. Doing so will provide Commander Rydek as much time as possible to complete her mission.
Agreed. We'll hail the Queen's delegation from my ready room. We all know what we need to do. Dismissed.
Ah là là. En effet, je me souviens de cet épisode, c'est vers le début de la saison 1.
Petty Officers Diaz and Edsolar, where is the crystal formation that you found in the shuttle? I have tasked Ensign Calloway with performing a full analysis of the tetrametric pulses.
Security brought it to the containment lab.
I was just there. They don't know anything about it.
Eh merde.
Security never checked it in.
Miranda never got there?
She's the one that had the crystal formation?
J'aurais pas dû filer des trucs à
Her
Miranda.
and the rest of the security detail from the negotiations.
Diaz, Tamaris.
Try her again.
Mais en plus, elle était bizarre.
Officer Miranda Maris. Respond.
Elle a le cristaux, elle l'a pas ramené au labo.
She's still on the ship. She has to be.
Computer, locate Petty Officer Miranda Maris.
Petty Officer Miranda Maris is in the linear storage array on Deck 5.
I'll go find her.
Good.
I am sure Mr. Diaz can attend to this on his own.
Et pourquoi il devrait toujours aller tout seul? Ah, parce qu'il est con l'autre. Et qu'est-ce qu'elle fout là, elle? Mais le pire, c'est qu'elle est chelou depuis qu'ils sont revenus. Hein. Depuis qu'ils sont revenus, elle avait pas eu un comportement normal, quoi.
Someone improperly pulled these isolinear chips.
Sabotage.
What the...
Oh, it's just you. I'm busy right now. Why don't you come back later?
What's the matter? Were you worried it was gonna be someone else?
No. I mean, I'm glad it's you.
Transfert.
But I'm through here, so I can't stay and chat. I have other things to do. Sorry you came all this way for nothing.
What exactly were you doing in here? I saw you accessing files, copying them onto that.
This is secure data. It's really not my place to talk about it. Look, I appreciate that you came to check on me, but I'm fine. You worry too much. We're on a starship. Nothing's gonna happen to me here.
It's not the only reason I'm here. That crystal formation you took never made it to the containment lab. Westbrook sent me to find you, to find out what happened.
Will you drop it?
Okay,
I'm
no.
not being interrogated, Carter.
Hey, wait up!
I'm getting some very mixed signals from you right now. I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress right now. Just tell Chovak or whoever I don't know where the crystals are, and let me go about my business. I know we have some things to figure out. I don't have time to stand around and debate with you.
If you won't give me a straight answer, you can tell them yourself.
This doesn't concern you, so I'm good with that.
Miranda, hold on.
No, get out of my way.
No, no.
So I see you found each other.
You were taking so long, the commander sent us to see what the problem was. Diaz, you were sent here with specific orders, and fighting your crewmate wasn't one of them. What the hell is going on here?
Let's just let them explain.
I'd like to hear that, because I know what it looks like.
She attacked me.
That's ridiculous.
And tried to get away with this. She was copying data onto it. I caught her in the act.
This drive is unauthorized.
There are ISOs all over the floor.
And that's why I was in here, investigating this situation. And when Carter came looking for me, we got our wires crossed. It wasn't anything more than that.
Even if that was true, it still doesn't answer what happened to the crystal formation that she took. And she isn't helping.
I can't tell you what I don't know. I brought them where they belonged, and that's where I left them.
I don't know what's going on here, but I think we need to call it into security. She can explain herself in the brig.
Hold on a minute. We don't need to put this on anyone's permanent record. Miranda, maybe you're feeling out of sorts, and we should head to sickbay so the doc can check you out?
Yeah, I haven't felt right since I came back from Hotari. I think I should see the doctor.
You two know her? If you really think she's not well, we can take her to sickbay first. But what I know is this is a security breach, and we should treat it as such.
Please, just let me go see the doctor.
She did have a bumpy ride back on the shuttle. Come on, Carter. We should get her taken care of.
You better be sure about this.
Let's take her to sickbay. It's better than the brig, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Fine. Get checked out by medical. You two go with her. I'll put this back together.
Bon, sécurité, ok, mais vu qu'elle a pas l'air bien depuis qu'elle est revenue, ouais, peut-être plutôt l'infirmerie, quoi.
Rydek here.
This is Irma. Any trouble getting to the surface?
I'm really starting to miss transporters.
As long as this storm is around, you'd better learn to like shuttles. But if you can find the cause of the interference, we might be able to get back to transporting.
As if I needed another incentive. We both know there's a lot more than that riding on this.
Fair enough. You'll need to get in and out of the mine undetected, so I hope Minister Tylus can help in that regard.
So do I.
And to keep this covert, we'll refrain from contact unless absolutely necessary.
Understood. Rydek out. The ionic interference is coming from underground. I should find a safer way down there.
I saw your shuttle take off. Hopefully no one else did. It's good to see you. Even under these unfortunate circumstances.
When you called to give us a scan, it sounded like they caught you. I was worried you'd been hurt.
It was nothing I couldn't handle.
Lead the way. I'll fill you in on what we've learned about the situation.
Follow me.
The device Galvin and Sidron brought back from the mines is being used to control some sort of warp disruption weapon that has the Resolut trapped in Hotari space. According to our readings, the power source for that device is on this moon, at the specific coordinates I sent you.
That sounds impossible. But explains the rumors of the Hotari controlling the ionic storm.
We strongly suspect the device was created by an ancient empire known as the Takan.
The Takan?
Once the most powerful civilization in the galaxy. But they've been gone for over 600,000 years.
It's hard to believe there's something like that on Tau.
Which is why I need proof. If we find hard evidence that Galvin and his allies are hiding dangerous Takan technology, I can convince the Federation to let us intervene.
Understood. We're almost there.
That's the mine?
Prospect 614 North, Subdivision 20.
It's enormous.
Just one of the thousands across Tau. The pride of Hotari.
How do we get inside?
The structure that circles the mine has entry points for transporting equipment into the lower levels. They're guarded, but nothing I can't get past using my authority.
Well, that's good to hear.
As long as you can avoid being seen, I should be able to talk my way past any minor. And provide a little distraction for you in the process.
How do I avoid being seen?
You don't use the door. How dare you! Don't you know who I am? I am Tylus Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
That's not...
The Queen would be furious to hear you tried to deny me entry.
The Queen? But I just...
You just what? Just now realize the trouble you've made for yourself?
Attends, parce que... Trouver un chemin sur la passerelle.
Because I'll be reporting it as well, to someone much further in the ladder. You have no authority here. Do you understand who pays your wage? I can inform the Queen directly of this insolence.
There's no
You'll
need
regret
for...
everything you've said here today. You should have opened the doors the second I...
Il y a des trucs en plus.
That's not the protocol. I didn't know
Each
you were...
second you delay my entry will be recorded, processed...
Someone takes their breaks up here. Maybe the same guard who left that window unlocked. I suppose the view is nice.
I have orders.
How could a fellow Hotari not understand this? You're digging your own grave. I've reached the end of my patience. Escort me to the maintenance bay.
Ok, on va aller de l'autre côté.
Now!
But fine.
A wise choice. Lead the way, and be quick.
Not going that way. Force field. Looks like it was installed recently. No safe way around it. Okay. Let's get a look inside you.
Ok, activation du champ. Il doit me manquer un truc. Effectuer une dernière analyse.
Full system access. Let's see if I can just... Bingo.
Merci Loul pour le follow. Merci beaucoup Loul62 pour le follow, bienvenue.
Better hurry. Not sure how long she can keep him busy.
Ok, alors là, ok.
Might be rigged to only open for registered users. No control panel here. I should take a look with my tricorder.
Attends. Ouais, on va qu'on se rapproche.
Might control the exit door. Need to see inside it. Something in here is keeping that door closed. Got it. Should remove the security check on the door.
Et bonjour, bienvenue encore. Merci Louloul. Loul, pardon, pour le follow. Tu adores Star Trek. Bienvenue en tout cas. Le jeu est sorti le 23 mai, il est dispo sur Epic Games pour ceux qui ont envie de checker. On est sur un jeu narratif de l'équipe anciennement Telltale, si tu connais le studio narratif. Ok, faut que je descende. C'est des anciens de Telltale qui ont créé un studio indépendant. Et du coup, qui nous ont fait un bon jeu, un bon petit jeu narratif à la Star Trek, voilà. Où tes choix auront des conséquences. Tu joues 2 personnages et l'histoire se passe en 2380 après les événements de Star Trek The Next Generation. Voilà. Petit check de l'histoire. Et ce qui est sympa aussi dans l'histoire, c'est que tu as la possibilité justement de pouvoir changer en fait ta façon de faire. Et il y aura des incidences, on va dire, des répercussions en fonction des choix que tu auras fait. Alors le jeu a quelques petits défauts, hein. Quand même, ça lag un peu dans le jeu. D'ailleurs, je vois le retour aussi. J'ai des lags dans le jeu. On perd des fois la VF aussi. Les sous-titres, des fois, sont un peu inexistants. D'ailleurs, là, je vois que ça lag de nouveau. Ça, c'est un peu le côté chiant du... Bon, ils ont dit qu'ils allaient mettre des patchs dessus. Hein. Ils ont dit qu'on aurait des patchs à venir. Heureusement, ça serait pas mal. Il y a certaines zones comme ça où tu as l'impression de laguer dans le jeu, quoi.
I didn't come here to educate an imbecile on royal protocol.
Of course not, Minister.
So I will be about my business here, and you will take yourself out of my sight. There you are.
You really let that guy have it.
It worked, didn't it? I'm used to having to throw my weight around. Hard to get anyone to listen to you otherwise.
Gotta admit, I'm a little afraid of you now.
You're lucky we're on the same side.
I'd say so. The catwalks were booby-trapped.
Galvin and Sidron have gone to great lengths to keep out the uninvited. Well, we're inside. Where do you want to start?
The ionic interference is coming from below us. We need to go deeper.
That lift goes down, at least to the changeover station. But we can't use it without DNA authorization from one of the guards.
I have an idea, but we need a few samples of DNA from the miners who work here.
Samples?
Fingerprints, sweat, blood.
Which will trick the machine and get us control of the lift.
That's the theory. Let's test it.
Non, du tout. En ce moment, je suis sur Star Trek Fleet Command. Oui, c'est le jeu de stratégie. C'est le jeu de stratégie, effectivement. Là, tu vois, tu es plus sur un jeu narratif, en fait, avec des choix et des conséquences. Le jeu n'est hélas pas en français. Hein. Voilà, il est sous-titré en français et en VO. On est sur un autre type en fait on est sur un jeu narratif tout simplement, à histoire, et derrière tu auras les conséquences. Et ça là, il lag quand même pas mal le jeu sur certaines zones, notamment sur celle-ci.
No luck. Unless this console thinks I'm a Hotari guard, it won't work.
The guards work out of that building back there. Might have some DNA.
Do you think we could just find a way to climb over this?
Possibly. But the console on the lift itself is locked by the same system that locks this ramp.
No shortcuts then.
I'm sure you can figure something out.
J'ai cru voir un truc au fond. Ah. Est-ce qu'il y a autre chose dans le coin? Visiblement, c'est pas là. Hein. Bah, je connais pas du tout. Je sais que il me semble que c'est un stratégie. Hein. Il est sorti il y a pas si longtemps, je crois en plus. Starfleet, enfin Starfleet Command.
An Illidian console.
All the managerial technology in the mines is Illidian.
So they can keep an eye on their investment.
That's how it is.
There's DNA on this console, but it's only partial. I can't use this.
Maybe because we're outside.
The weather out here could dilute any DNA samples.
What about inside that structure? That's where the workers spend most of their time.
Good idea.
Je préfère le jeu Timeless, Timeline, plus orienté gestion d'équipage et histoire. Ah, je connais pas.
Hygiene clearly isn't a priority down here. Wow, that is a lot of DNA.
Mm-hmm.
I should look for the most concentrated spots.
Oh!
Not concentrated enough. I should try somewhere else.
Là, y a rien.
This'll work.
Dernière analyse.
That's a stable DNA sample. It's only partial, but a few more should do it.
Est-ce qu'on est bon là?
Almost looks like coffee. Almost. I'll have some Ractigino when I get back to the ship. Leftovers. I should give this a scan. There's gotta be stable DNA here.
Attends, ça...
Good. That's another I could use. Just need one more sample.
Ok, encore un. Encore un échantillon supplémentaire.
Some kind of glowing mineral being used as a light source. Might want one of these for my cabin, actually.
Sérieux, on n'a pas d'ADN encore ici? Putain, j'aurais dit clairement là-dessus, moi. Hein. Clairement là-dessus, hein. On a vu quelque chose là. Voilà.
Promising. Perfect. That's enough to make the DNA profile. Time to go back to the lift.
Yes.
You're not coming inside?
There are some things I'd rather not smell.
Ah.
De toute façon, on peut retourner à l'ascenseur. Hein. Ouais, en fait, ce que je remarque dans le jeu, c'est que les lags, en fait, vont être sur certaines zones. Parce que je l'ai pareil, j'ai aussi dans le jeu, hein, les lags là. Hein. Ça va être dans les zones où justement t'as ça, quoi. C'est un peu plus rempli. Hein. T'as plus de choses à afficher.
Theory proven.
I'll get it started.
Ah, je l'avais capté quand ils avaient la discussion avec les Alidiens déjà, quoi.
Ready?
I'm a little afraid of what we might find down there.
We'll be okay. I've survived worse than this.
Well, I haven't. But I'll put my faith in you. For now. Jara. No, stay back. There's a guard at the station. You'll have to hide.
Oh, évidemment. Dépêche-toi! Voilà.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
You watch your tone with me. I'm Tylus Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs. I speak for the Queen herself.
This is a restricted area. No one gains access without the approval of Galvin or Sidron.
Wait.
Jues Gawad Abowincha.
Let me go!
Bon, la discrétion, c'est pas
Are you
ça.
all
hein.
right?
I don't know.
Are you injured?
No, I thought if I could talk my way through like always, I'd be fine, but... I'm a diplomat. This isn't what I do. I've never even fired a weapon. This is just... It's real now. I wasn't ready for this.
Tylus, you can do this.
I don't see what you're basing that on.
All you've shown me so far is an iron-willed determination to save your people. I don't expect that's changed.
No. No, it hasn't. My authority has never been challenged like that. It meant nothing to him.
So we should assume any Hatari we encounter from here on can't be reasoned with.
Agreed. The only loyalty they have down here is to Galvin and Sidron.
Can you switch over the lift?
The guard should have a scan card that will allow us to operate the switch.
Got it.
He's not dead, is he?
Non, il est pas mort.
He's still one of my people, and I didn't come here to take Otari lives.
My phaser's set to stun. He'll be perfectly fine, just unconscious for a while.
I see. We don't have that sort of technology on our weapons.
Good to know. The energy readings are emanating from this tunnel. It's sure to be guarded in there. Stay low and follow my lead.
Infiltrer la mine. Youhou!
Is that all dilithium?
Not all of it. We excavate large chunks of rock that contain varying amounts of dilithium ore. It's sorted and processed at the collector ship above.
More guards.
I take that as a sign we're getting close.
I'll get a closer look. Looks like they've improvised a barrier.
Yes, we must be getting closer.
We don't have time to wait for them to finish whatever they're doing. We'll have to try to keep low and sneak past them.
I'm starting to see the utility of a phaser.
I wouldn't stand a chance against all three of them. We need that particular card, don't we?
I'm afraid so.
Can you open that door?
Not without that scan card.
Ok.
I don't like our options here. I have to get us that card so we can open the door.
How? If they detect you, Galvin and Sidron's followers are clearly willing to kill to protect whatever is in this mine.
Hey, I'm trained for this. I'll be fine.
What should I do?
Avoid being seen. Stick to the edge of the room, and meet me at the door.
Ah ouais, d'accord. Scène de furtivité. Lors des séquences de furtivité, certains ennemis, s'ils sont alertés, tenteront de vous attraper en se lançant à votre poursuite. Si vous faites prendre, la mission échouera. C'est magnifique. C'est magnifique. Et je pense que c'est là qu'on va se... Alors, la sauvegarde, par contre, j'espère que ça passe, là. Et c'est là qu'on va s'arrêter pour aujourd'hui. Je pense, parce que quand on peut tenter une scène de furtivité, il est quelle heure, 5 heures, ouais, dans 20 minutes, grand max, j'arrête. On va tenter le coup, à voir. Hein. Essayons d'être le plus furtif possible. Ce qui n'est pas du tout mon fort. Hein. Restez cachés, les ennemis peuvent vous voir s'ils regardent dans votre direction. Restez en position accroupie, ok. Évitez leur champ de vision, utilisez, ok, pour vous faufiler plus vite en respectant la position accroupie. Si un ennemi vous voit apparaître... ouais, d'accord. Le symbole apparaîtra. Si elle s'est remplie entièrement, vous vous ferez attraper. Sortez vite de son champ de vision pour détourner son attention. Ok, déplacement des ennemis, itinéraire. Ouais, je sais pas du tout ce que ça va donner. Hein. Restez accroupi. Restez accroupi et hors de leur vue, observez les déplacements des gardes et saisissez une occasion pour avancer. Alors attends, parce que lui il va de gauche, ok.
Long. Those arrogant Lydians have no idea what's coming.
Sauf qu'il faudrait que j'avance.
I wish the Lydians won't try something else. They saw our power, are resolved,
Merde.
terrified of us.
Ah oui, d'accord, échafaudage.
Then get back to work, and we'll complete the plan more quickly.
Ok, les deux sont sur l'ordi. Il revient.
Processing.
Oh pizza.
I can taste our victory.
Oh pétard, attends. Si, vas-y. Attends, mais où est-ce que je suis censée aller là? Ah.
Who's there? Must be seeing things. How long is Galvin going to make us wait? I'm not worried. He's let us well so
I'd melt
far.
if I went through there.
It's a miracle.
Keep moving.
We've been waiting for so long. Patience, brother. We'll get our chance. It's inevitable after all. Let it is. It's going along.
Chiotte? Non. Ok. Allez. Ok, bah c'était rapide.
Stay close.
Stop!
What?
Motion sensors.
Ah bah
Trigger
yo!
an alarm will be found.
Invisible to the naked eye.
They could be anywhere. How will we get through?
Ok, on doit avoir un truc pour pouvoir dégager. Attends, on doit avoir un truc là dans le coin. Je m'approche. Alors ça va éviter les mouvements, éviter de vous trouver sur le trajectoire. Ouais, bon, ça on a compris, hein. En fait, j'utilise ça pour me guider. Je peux pas... Baisse-toi. En fait, on peut pas se baisser avec le... Voilà. Reste au milieu.
No!
Merde! Oh! Pas mal par contre. Alors.
Stay close.
Attends. Le truc c'est le cheminement quoi.
Stop!
What?
Motion sensors. They'll trigger an alarm. Will be found.
Invisible to the naked eye.
They could be anywhere. How will we get through?
Ok, je dois certainement avoir... Alors, le truc c'est le chemin quoi. Le truc c'est le chemin. Ouais, le truc c'était quand même de ranger ça, de me baisser. Ah, c'est ça. Après, je me suis fait avoir avec lequel là. Ah, je me suis fait avoir par la barre. Oh, la barre horizontale. Ah, la saloperie. Ok, il faudrait que j'aille tout droit et que je me baisse. Oh pétard. Je suis carrément pile devant. Carrément pile devant une autre barre. Là, il faut que je me baisse. Ok. Ok. Ah bah yo, décidément. Laisse-toi. Ouais mais alors attends. Attends. Parce que ok on a la barre horizontale, mais... Ah ah. C'est bien. Aller tout droit là ça le fait pas. Hein. Par contre passer par... se baisser et passer sur le côté, oui. Par contre, doucement. Doucement. Ok. Oh la vache. Attention barre. Là il n'y en a pas. Ah, j'en ai une. Ok. Oh tiens. Tiens. Oh la vache. Oh le carnage.
This.
It's where the uprising started.
Ok.
Hotari don't do this. We defend ourselves, but we don't kill on this scale, this level of savagery.
There's no such thing as a bloodless rebellion.
I don't know if we should keep going. So much death. I don't want to end up like them.
We'll make sure they didn't die for nothing. What we learn here could save the rest of your people.
Okay.
Whatever happened here, it made the Illydians abandon the mines. Let's find out what they're so scared of.
On était sur le lieu de la révolte.
These crystalline particles, they're not dilithium. Are they common in the mines?
Not that I've ever seen.
Is this the effects of an Illydian disruptor?
Yes.
Disruptors are cruel weapons. Hotari. And Illidian. Both sides took a beating. The Hotari fortified the side of the room opposite the door. It's a good tactic, but a few crates aren't going to stop fully armed Illidian soldiers. How did they win? From the blast marks, it looks like the Illidians had far greater firepower.
Ah. On aura quelque chose au fond. C'est de l'autre côté.
Footprints. Illidian boots. Running back the way we came.
Ah. Je crois que j'ai le jeu qui a planté. Ah oui. Ah oui. Notre petit jeu a planté. Ah là là. Bon, c'est pas encore ça. Niveau... Ouais, il a planté le jeu. Hein. Image fixe. Mais écoutez, alors, il est moins 10 de toute façon. Ce qu'on va faire... Je vais... Là. Je vais arrêter le jeu pour aujourd'hui. Voilà. Je vais... J'aime pas faire ça, mais en fait, le jeu ne s'arrête pas du tout. Ah, éteindre un jeu comme ça, c'est pas bon du tout. Ce n'est pas bon du tout. Ce qu'on va faire, c'est que nous, on va se retrouver... demain. Je pense pour le coup des 13h. On va se retrouver demain pour le coup des 13h et j'ai le jeu qui veut plus du tout s'arrêter. Oh god, quel enfer. Ouh là là. Ah oui, il a complètement planté. Le cher a complètement sauté en fait. Ah, c'est fun ça. Ouais, donc ce qu'on va faire... quand on aime, on compte pas. Ben là, je t'avoue que là j'aurais bien continué, mais c'est vrai que j'avais dit que je m'arrêtais à 18h de toute façon aujourd'hui. Là, on a passé la porte. On doit de toute façon trouver d'autres éléments dans la mine. Donc ça, c'est cool. Du coup, on pourra reprendre de là demain si la sauvegarde n'a pas foiré. Ça sera pas mal, quoi. Et désolé en tout cas, ouais, désolé, parce que du coup là je pensais pas que ça allait planter à ce niveau-là. Il y a quelques petites lacunes hein, sur le jeu, hein, ça voilà, ils se sont excusés, on le savait. Enfin moi je m'attendais plus à avoir des problèmes de version française, parce que vu que il n'est pas en VF, il y a les sous-titres, et on m'avait dit, bon de temps en temps tu n'auras pas les sous-titres d'afficher. Alors oui effectivement c'est aussi ce qu'on a, mais le jeu a tendance à ramer déjà in-game un tout petit peu, et puis là il vient carrément de me planter quoi. Donc il y a quelques petits soucis. Mais le jeu, si tu enlèves tout ça, le jeu il est plutôt chouette quoi. L'intrigue elle est sympa, c'est un Star Trek. Hein. Ça reste un Star Trek avec les conflits politiques, en même temps le côté technologique, scientifique, les races aliens qui se font la guerre, toi tu ramènes la paix. Bref, le côté diplomatique ou pas, ça reste un Star Trek et honnêtement je trouve que le jeu est pas si mal quoi. Mis à part les 2-3 couacs, là, le jeu est pas si... il passe plutôt bien, il est pas si mal. Donc, ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va se retrouver demain à 13h pour la suite, tranquillement. Je rappelle qu'il n'y aura pas de live vendredi. Donc, demain, on se fait aussi, je pense, une après-midi, un petit 13-18 aussi demain, tranquillou, ou 13-19 au pire demain. Voilà, histoire de rattraper un peu aujourd'hui. Et puis voilà, quoi. Je vais checker. J'ai carrément l'écran de gauche, là, il m'a fait carrément sauter mon... mon écran. Le launcher épique a complètement sauté. Hein. C'est juste assez fou. Ce qui, quand ça plante, ça plante. Hein. Ah, quand ça plante, ça plante. Alors, je réfléchis en même temps chez qui je peux vous envoyer. Je vois pas grand monde de toute façon. Mass Effect. Est-ce qu'il est en train, il est en train de finir Mass Effect? On est sur la fin de Mass Effect. Je sais pas si ça vous intéresse que je vous envoie sur du Mass Effect. Mass Effect Legendary Edition chez Aeroster. Vu que je vais pas nous envoyer sur du Star Trek, hein, on va pas se spoiler la suite du jeu, on découvrira le reste demain. Écoutez, je vous envoie sur du Mass Effect. Après, comme dit, n'hésitez pas à rester pour le raid, c'est-à-dire faire un petit coucou dans le chat ou pas avant d'aller au bon vous semble. Ça fait toujours plaisir, un petit raid. Et puis nous, du coup, on se retrouve demain à 13h. 13h pour la suite de l'aventure sur Star Trek Resurgence, qui pour l'instant, ça se passe plutôt bien. Voilà, mis à part, comme dit, 2-3 petits couacs. J'essaierai d'arranger le problème en off pour demain, et puis voilà. D'ici là, bah, merci encore pour les follow. Je vous fais des gros bisous. Je vous raid du coup chez Aeroster. Et puis on se retrouve demain pour la suite de l'aventure sur Star Trek Resurgence. Et puis merci encore évidemment à Dramatic Labs, Brunner LLC et Epic Games pour le partenariat. Merci encore à eux. Des gros bisous. Bon début de fin d'après-midi à vous tous. Et rendez-vous demain à 13h. D'ici là, bonne soirée, bon appétit, des bisous. Et rendez-vous demain à 13h pour la suite. Allez, ciao tout le monde, des bisous. Et surtout, bah, prenez soin de vous. Hein. Des bisous tout le monde, bye bye.